you believe love can turn deadly? In the heart of Lucknow, beside the calm banks of the Gomti River, a story of love, betrayal, and blood was quietly taking shape. It wasn't the kind of thing anyone would have expected from a humble e-rickshaw driver named Himanshu Sonkar and his beautiful, ambitious wife Payal. They were the perfect picture of young love. A couple who had defied family norms to be together, who married for love and not for status or wealth. But what began as a fairy tale was about to spiral into a horrifying nightmare. Himanshu lived with his family near civil lines in Lucknow, driving an e-rickshaw to support his wife and aging parents. He wasn't wealthy, but he was hardworking, gentle, and madly in love with Payal. The two had married against the wishes of their families, breaking societal norms as Payal was his maternal cousin. Even though it was a controversial match, their passion had overridden logic. In 2018, they tied the knot, and Payal moved from Delhi to live with Himanshu in Lucknow. Payal had dreams bigger than the lanes of Lucknow. She wanted to become an air hostess, to soar high above the clouds. Himanshu, smitten and supportive, promised to help her chase those dreams. He took on extra shifts, worked late into the night, and saved every penny to pay for her training at a local institute. When she said she wanted to study further, he didn't hesitate. He saw her ambition as their shared journey. It wasn't just love, it was blind devotion. But things slowly started to change. Payal began spending more time away from home. Her appearance shifted. Fancier clothes, expensive accessories, and a growing disinterest in household responsibilities. Himanshu's parents noticed the changes, but remained silent, believing their son's happiness came first. Himanshu, despite sensing something was off, kept quiet too. He trusted his wife. Then came the money. Payal was spending more than Himanshu could earn. New dresses, salon visits, gadgets, things he couldn't afford, and she wasn't earning yet. Where was all this money coming from? Every time Himanshu asked, she dodged the questions. But Himanshu loved her too much to dig deep, until one day he couldn't ignore it anymore. Payal had a friend named Tanu, who lived in Kesarbagh. Often she would visit her. Tanu's brother, Ayush Sonkar, was a government clerk at the Lucknow Municipal Corporation. What Himanshu didn't know was that Ayush had fallen for Payal, deeply and dangerously. Over the next few years, Ayush spent lavishly on Payal's education, her training, and even her luxuries. Over 12 lakhs just to keep her close. At first, Himanshu was clueless, but in 2022 he discovered the truth. Payal and Ayush were having an affair. Confrontation followed. Payal begged for forgiveness and promised it was over. Himanshu, broken but still in love, forgave her. He wanted to believe her. He needed to believe her. But lies don't stay buried for long. Unknown to him, Payal had never truly ended her relationship with Ayush. They had just gotten more careful. They texted, called, and met secretly. And Ayush, jealous, possessive, and desperate, wanted Himanshu out of the picture for good. In fact, this wasn't even the first time they tried to get rid of him. Once, Ayush had even bought a country-made pistol, considering hiring a hitman. But the risk was too high, so the plan was scrapped. But then, Payal remembered something chilling. Himanshu couldn't swim. And so a new plan was born, a plan where murder would look like an accident. Late on the night of January 21st, 2025, Himanshu left home with rupees. 3,500, money given to him by Payal to repay Ayush, who had been pressuring them for repayment. What Himanshu didn't know was that the money was Ayush's own, funneled through Payal as bait. Along with the money, Payal handed Himanshu a new phone, saying it was for contacting Ayush. That phone was untraceable, a ghost phone. What happened next would shake Lucknow to its core. The clock struck 10 p.m. as Himanshu pedaled his e-rickshaw through the quiet streets of Lucknow. He was headed to Kesarbagh to meet Ayush and return the money. The GPS showed his rickshaw halting near Hanuman Dam, close to the Gomti River. He never returned. As the hours passed and Himanshu didn't come back, his family grew anxious. His parents waited up all night, pacing the floors, trying to reach him. But his phone had been lost weeks ago, and this new device, the one Payal had given him, was unreachable. No one knew where he was, and no one could contact him. By the next morning, panic had taken hold. Calls were made to friends, relatives, neighbors, everyone who might know something. Then came the breakthrough. The e-rickshaw's GPS signal showed it parked, abandoned, near the Hanuman Dam temple. Himanshu was nowhere to be seen. The family rushed to the location. The vehicle stood alone, silent. They scoured the area, shouting his name, hoping he might be nearby. Someone suggested checking the temple's CCTV footage. The footage showed Himanshu arriving at 10:15 p.m., parking his rickshaw, taking out a phone, speaking briefly, and then vanishing into the darkness beyond the wall. Where had he gone? The footage raised another terrifying question. Himanshu had been using a phone, but his real phone had been stolen weeks ago. Why hadn't he mentioned getting a new one? Why had he kept it a secret? Suspicion began to grow. The family approached the police, but bureaucracy got in the way. The local Hazaratganj police claimed that Himanshu had disappeared in Wazirganj's jurisdiction and passed the case along. Precious time was wasted. But finally, the missing person report was filed. 3 teams were assembled. The search intensified. Meanwhile, back at home, Payal's behavior raised eyebrows. She seemed unnaturally calm. When a concerned relative brought food for the grieving family, Payal eagerly served herself a full plate. While everyone else sat in silence, devastated and fasting, Payal ate. Her father-in-law was stunned. His son was missing. No one had slept. No one had eaten. Yet Payal, the one who should be most broken, was acting like it was just another day. She stayed glued to her phone, constantly texting and taking calls. Who was she talking to? That question would unlock a devastating truth. Police analyzed her phone and found a web of messages between her and Ayush. Even after Himanshu's disappearance, Payal was updating Ayush about everything. She warned him about the GPS, the CCTV footage, and even when suspicion began to fall on him, she begged him to delete the footage. But it was too late. Another camera near Shanidev Temple provided critical evidence. At 10:14 p.m., a man was seen heading toward the river. Minutes later, Himanshu followed. Within 7 minutes, the first man returned, alone. He looked into the camera and tried to cover his face, but the clothing was familiar. Himanshu's sister recognized it immediately. It was Ayush. The trap had been set. Now, it had to be sprung. On January 24th, the truth shattered the fragile calm of Himanshu's family. The police called them to the station and made an announcement that turned everyone's blood cold. Himanshu was dead. His body had been found in the Gomti River, and the person who helped orchestrate his murder was none other than his wife, Payal. Divers had pulled Himanshu's lifeless body from the deep waters near Hanuman Dam, the same spot where Ayush had taken him. post-mortem reports showed no signs of external injury, suggesting an accidental drowning. But the truth was far darker. During interrogation, Payal broke. She confessed everything. How she had married for love, but later felt trapped. How Ayush, with his government job and money, became more appealing. How she and Ayush plotted together, not once, not twice, but thrice, to remove Himanshu from their lives. The first attempt had been subtle, poisoning food. The second, bolder, trying to drug him. And finally, this, pushing him into the river, knowing full well he couldn't swim. It was clean. No marks, no noise, just water, silence, and death. Ayush had lured Himanshu out with a fake promise of repayment. Payal had given him Ayush's own money to return. She had even handed him an untraceable phone. Every piece of the puzzle was crafted to erase Himanshu without leaving a trail. But evil leaves traces. Always. Alongside Payal, police arrested Ayush and his cousin Jackie, an accomplice who had tried to delete the CCTV footage. All three were sent to jail. But questions remain. What kind of love ends in murder? What drives a woman to kill the very man she once begged to marry? Payal had once believed in love. Or maybe she believed in control. Ayush had once claimed loyalty. Or maybe he was obsessed with possession. And Himanshu, he believed in trust, in dreams, in a love that wasn't real. As the city of Lucknow watched the case unfold, a deeper question echoed through every home. Can love ever justify murder? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Was it betrayal, obsession, or just a fatal mistake? Let us know what you think.